It is the 24th of the 4th, 2013, and this is your radioactive reality. Let's go down the headline news. ENE News. Tamura, a city about 20 kilometers west of the nuclear plant that was originally in the no-go zone, was moved to the sub-20 millisievert zone on April 2012 and is recovering quickly. The ban on vegetable shipments from Tamura was lifted last month, making it the first no-go zone to receive a green light for sales. Residents and architectural cooperatives in the city said that at least 2 farms are preparing to plant rice and others are planning to grow feed grain. Excruciating, bizarre, grotesque ailments after working at BP oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. Food industry workers coming out whistleblowing saying she was deathly ill due to chemical exposure working out on those ships. Xenon detected in Japan. It's consistent with nuclear fission event. Could be from reactor or other atomic activity. North Korean bomb test, question mark. They said it takes about 50 days to get over there, and it's been 55 since the North Korean tested that nuke not too long ago. And they're saying it's either the North Koreans or they've got a nuclear problem in China or Korea. New flyover of giant sinkhole, oil sheen covering surface of section of trees not turning green. This is Bayou Corn, Louisiana, of course. And that sinkhole is just going to keep growing and growing and growing. You got to remember, it's the deepest one ever. Just thankful suspect was stopped at the edge of U.S. nuclear plant. Authorities not discussing motive for shooting. Description, dark hoodie driving a John boat. They have a video on that. Apparently the guy got away and they're dropping it. So something definitely weird going on in Tennessee. Fukushima fallout spiked after a year after 3/11. They've got some charts and graphs on that. Now these are TEPCO studies, so you can't really believe anything they're putting out. CNN shows diagram of nuclear material leaking from Fukushima reactor. Quote, TEPCO always says it's all right. It always turns out that they're not telling the truth, unquote. And we all know TEPCO's liar. And who owns TEPCO now? The Japanese government. Yes, the taxpayers of Japan own TEPCO. Officials trying to stop nuclear material from spreading after collapse at Chernobyl. They're going to cover it with a special resin to keep the radioactive dust down. You got to remember, part of the Chernobyl building collapsed not too long ago. They said it was in the turbine rooms and it wasn't to do anything with the nuclear stuff, but the place is so radioactive, of course. They're just going to spray some foam resin over it so it won't go anywhere. And they're way behind on their cover-up as well. Nuclear material in pools at Fukushima schools exceed 100,000 becquerels per kilogram. The level nearly doubles since last year. These pools, they were saying, have not been drained since the nuclear accident or the nuclear incident. And it's just the mud and dust that's accumulated from the air down to the bottom of these pools, making this sludge down at the bottom. And since it's underwater, TEPCO doesn't want to clean it up. And most of the other schools in the area have already dumped their pools, aka into the river systems, into the Pacific Ocean. The contamination continues and continues. A dead rodent halts Fukushima cooling system for 3rd time in recent weeks. 3 times a trend, friends. No kidding. And like I said last time, you know, 2 rats taken out and they are not putting in backup systems. They are kicking the can down the road. A couple stories on Fukushima Diary, Daily News. Mutated cabbage with 4 small ones outside and 10 inside produced in western Japan. Now this is just news coming out along with the opening of farming in what was an exclusion zone. As spring is coming and the plants are growing, more and more mutated flowers and vegetables are found. A cabbage was found for sale with a little special feature, which has nothing to do with radiation for sure. Sign of Mount Fuji activity, question mark. A large landslide happened in 100 kilometers from Mount Fuji, 80 meters high and 70 meters wide. They're saying that swelling in one of the lakes is draining, and it's not uncommon for Fuji to go off after a big earthquake. And yeah, chloride concentration increases 270% of 2 weeks ago in observation holes. Those are those big lagoon reservoirs that are leaking, and they say they can't get to until July or June. That is increasing in its leak towards the sea by 270%. Finally, in Informative, after investigating the Fukushima nuclear power plant last week, Juan Carlos, I'm not going to slur his last name, the head of the investigating team, that admitted that the work to decommission and stabilize the reactors in the plant is so complex that it is impossible for experts to predict how long the project may last. As for the duration of the decommissioning project, this is something that you can define in your plans, but in my view it will be nearly impossible to ensure the time for decommissioning such a complex facility in less than 30 to 40 years, as currently established on the roadmap, he said. And of course, TEPCO is seriously behind on their cleanup schedule. And finally tonight, I got a link to a website, Fukushima Japan Nuclear Update. Now this is a great site. They've compiled all the news sources for the nuclear industry together. YouTube channels that are covering the nuclear crisis, and a whole bunch of other stuff you might want to check out. I'll provide a link below for that as well. That's about all I have for you today. Of course, if I missed anything, please leave your comments and videos below. Enjoy while you can, everybody. Thanks.